It's already working. All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome. So, yes, there you are. Yes, so we're live. Let me just stop that because it's in my ears. I can hear myself, and then it's not right. So, I hope you are well and everything's all right. Let me check. As I wait a little bit and as I share a little bit of this. Oh, there's a hi Rexy, welcome. And yes, and we do this. Ready to go, ready to talk, ready for anything that may happen. So this is not what I wanted to do. Yes. So, October, sharing a post, and everything. What is this? Been a little while since I've done this, so let me just go through a couple of things. First, reminder, The Mad and God, our podcast with Roxanne Swaynard, and myself as hosts. Well, we host together. And we talk about many things. So last week I was not home, so we didn't record. But this week there's a new episode, a new podcast coming out, which is going to be our number 14th or I think or 15th. Yeah, we've done pretty good. I mean, 15th. That's great. So join us on Friday. We'll publish. It's gonna be on your podcast server, deliver, whatever you use Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or right the other ones. I never remember those things. So join us. Yes. And this is not working. Next thing, you can go and check the what is called. Oh, I don't know. I forgot. Patreon. Good. Patreon.com. It's in the description. Breakfastwithmax.com in the description. Yeah, that was something I wanted to say. And well, like and subscribe and leave a comment. Yes, patreon.com. So I'll do a Q&A. So you ask questions and I answer for patrons. So yeah, if you're interested, do that, and I'll do a live with that. And it's really very interesting. I love that. Q&A. It's I'll do yes and no questions, and I'll have more elaborate questions. Gonna be fun. It's a new thing. So I just have one last thing to do, and I have to do this here because computers are great, internet is great, But we always have to have something that is not working or something that is not great, where easy is not in our really vocabulary sometimes. So we make things more difficult than what we need to. So sometimes you have to go one way, another way to do what you want, because Firefox is not working when you try to do something. You have to use Chrome. Chrome doesn't work for something. You have to use Firefox, something else. These kind of things, right? Just the stupidity of the human race, that we have to make things difficult for ourselves. Just like that. So, but anyway, it's okay. There you go. And finally, here we go. So, October. I think that I can say that it has been a while. At least it feels like that. It feels an eternity since I've done this. And it is an eternity. And it is an eternity because I do not feel the same. It doesn't feel the same. It's completely different. It feels different, and it is different. And you know, it's the way we are, right? We change so much, and I've changed, and it's the basic of the work that we do in Ascension, that we bring that change. We work for that change, and so I've come to a point where I realize I do not anymore base anything on. I do not take my memory as something fixed. My memory changes, and even the other day I was looking a map, Google Map, and as I was watching that, I realized that a town had changed position completely. It's northern, in a northern side than what I remember it was. So, right, I could just say, oh, I'm just mistaken or anything like that. I'm not there anymore. I do not take myself as mistaken. I just say, well, it's changed. I've changed timeline. I changed. There's been a shift or anything, but the fact is that those things happen. So the map change, position of the town change, etc., and that's fine. It's part of the game. It's part of ascension, of evolution, and I'm in a place where I can see those things, and I am in a place where instead of accusing myself of being mistaken, I just accept that happens, that my memory is not a point fixed in time, but my memory changes. And I have to say that's constant now. It can be, as I said, the map or position of town that is different, or it can be words, it can be what we ate, or it can be things more or less or whatever. But I can see the change, and I can relate to that. So when I say it feels like ages, well, it is. This is the first time I do this, because I'm a new me. I'm a new version of me, and this version of me is doing this for the first time. And the only time, because from here to the end of this life, I'll be different. I'll be a new me, so that the next time I do this, it's gonna be like the first time I'm doing this, because that version of me is doing that for the first time and only time. And those versions, because it's not just one version of me that is doing one life, or what we see as one life. And from the beginning to the end of this, it may pass for me, for me, the creator, right? Millions of years, or what we will say, the equivalent of millions of years. So, just to say, change, and there is no opposing it or resisting it anymore. It's part of me, part of what I'm experiencing, and so it's evident, it's there, and I accept it. And this gives it also the realization that I cannot base my now on my memory, because my memory being something that changes, then if I base everything on my memory, not only I'm not in the now, but then I may be twisted or not relating or not being hi James and welcome. The memory may play games with me, and so in the sense that I may remember things in different ways. So which way is the way? Well, neither. There's no way, and there's no need to dwell in the memory, not just because when you when you swim in the memory, you are creating the now, but also because it's not right necessary to live in the memory. And I'm saying this because I'm just had an experience of memory, really intense memory. I mean, I had many experiences with memory. My father lives in a memory. I mean, lives in the memory, not in a memory. He lives in memory, and all of his interactions with me are based on that, and he's using the memory to as a weapon to try to create a emotional attachment, so that he can't leave behind the memory, so that he's holding all of his existence in a prison, in a cycle of repeating and repeating and repeating. What he repeats is that he repeats what he's saying. It's always the same thing, and he's repeating the experiences that he has had. However, I discovered recently that what he is doing is that he is manipulating his memory, meaning that he's presenting the experience in a way that suits him, that makes him look like better than what he might if he was sharing the memory correctly. So he is manipulating in many ways using his memory. So that is one thing that I have the habit, and now I am just refusing to participate in that because I'm not interested. It's done. It's gone. It's not now. So why will I participate into that? and it's his thing. And if he doesn't want to be trustworthy and to share the experience in the way it happened, or in let's say in a way that is relatable, it's his choice, not mine. And so I leave him with that. And I have another instance, and other people that I met, but this last week, I just was in a place, and I was looking around me, and I realized that I was in a apartment full of memories, where only memory were allowed, right, in the objects and in the things that were there. And I realized that that was the perfect description of the people that the owners. And it was quite revealing to see that the place was the reflection of the owners so strongly in that way. And then making a link with the behavior, with the way of living life, of expressing life, and so that I was seeing people imprisoned in their houses, in their apartments, and so imprisoned in their memory, unable to move forward, unable to free themselves from whatever that memory may be. And so witnessing our memory, well, I already witnessed that with my father. With my father, there is a it's family, or what I perceive as family. So there is, whether I want it or not, there is an emotional link. So that I may be, especially with all that I know and all that I'm working, and with the experience of his refusal, of him disowning me, I may not be fair with him. I may not be really open to give him any credit or anything that, but which will be obviously a emotional response, but it's part of the work I'm doing. But it's part of seeing someone that is so close, or has been so close, and then there's stuff happening, and then that emotional link is there. That's why some work cannot be done with family members. And what I mean is that I will not take as a client a family member, because I know that the closer they are to me, the more difficult it will be for me to have the distance that is necessary to have a better interaction when it comes to work with energies, with working with healing, right? If my husband has anything like that, I know that the feelings or the emotional link that we have, I may be too much willing, too much wanting to heal. And when you want to heal, it's when you are unable to heal, because there is too much intention in it. So I have to take the distance and to admit, well, it's not, I'm not the best person to take charge of that kind of situation, and leave that to others, or stay out of that. When there isn't a need for healing, meaning when it is a situation of a session or something like that, that's fine, because there isn't the need of healing. But when there is the need of healing, that's when I know I have to take the distance and admit, well, I'm too much involved. So, however, when it comes to older people, right, people that are not family, let's say, even though what is family, what is not family, we're all connected. So it's just a belief system, a relationship that is based to a belief system. But well, it's our reality. It's how we build it. So if that is present, it's present. So if I'm feeling that emotional link or that I'm forcing the healing, then yeah, it's there. And it's something that I recognize and I accept. But in this case, with these people, it's well, we're close, yes, but it's that situation where you see that the memory is taking over, and it has taken over a long time ago. Because right, they're living memory, so they are living in time. And living in time, well, as we all do, but there's a living in time that is externalized, and there is a living in time because that's what we use, because that's what we are using as a barometer or as a linkage to this reality. So I have time, I use time because time is there. And then you have people that are using time, obviously, but then they are more than using time. And time becomes a prison. And it becomes an obsession. The externalization, it's all there is. And it's difficult for them not to do that. And then there has to be a recognition, recognizing of that situation. There is not everyone has that will or that intention of getting that, of seeing that, of understanding that, and so it's their choice, and it's the way they choose to be and to express themselves. So there's no need of intervention or anything. It's absolutely all right. For me, what is interesting in this situation is that then I can see also the reaction now that there is when I'm presenting myself with the change that I'm experiencing in myself, in my being, and in my work, and to have quite people that are presenting some sort of refusal or not understanding, or trying to tell me what to do, how to do, that clearly know better than me, and want me to do the way they will do, even if they are not doing it, so they don't know how it's done, or tell me, oh, no one needs that, and it's right, no one needs that. Yeah. And that plays to it's going to the heart, to the core of that thing where we want to help everyone, right? I no, that's not true, and I can do this with everyone, and I can heal everyone, I can help everyone to ascend, right? Oh my goodness, don't worry, right? That thing, so human and so wrong. And when I say wrong, it's not wrong, it's a mistake. It's wrong because the intention, because of the trying to make the self more than, and to diminish everyone else and say they need me. And there's where we have to be humble enough and to recognize that they don't need me. No one needs me. And those that choose to, they will choose to work with me, but because they choose it, not because I pick them. And it's one of the things that I've seen last week, how the absence of self-awareness, the absence of self-recognition and observation. You have to make publicity, or you have to go and force people to work with it, right? That idea, not said in that way, but that was the way that it was presented, and I cannot do that. No one can do that, and it's fine. Remember, publicity, people that are trying, it's part of the lackful human being that think that, right, that's a reality, that's how they perceive it, that's how they do it, and their lack, it works. There's a whole reality that works in that way. It's called business, it's called corporate America, corporate work, corporate whatever, where people do things like that, and they keep forcing in that way, but and then that works in that way, in that world. But it's so much effort, and it works so little in comparison with the effort that is put in that, because it's full of lack, because there is no need for that in any way. So coming back to me, it's interesting to be confronted with that, and to have someone saying, "Oh, you have to do that." And in my lack, I have already tried to do those kind of things, obviously, to advertise and to see if I can do that, and right, to have that kind of thing. It doesn't work, and I know it doesn't work, so I stopped doing it some time ago. I'm not doing that because I know that it's full of lack, and I'm not doing it because I know it's intentional, right? And there's a fine line between, right, what is intentional and what is, well, I've done it, so now something is coming out of that. Yeah, absolutely. There is always the opportunity, the possibility, the potential that something comes out of lack, right? Yeah, a lackful reality, obviously, certainly. But it's the way you do it. It's the reason why you do it. It's the purpose in which you are doing it. And that is that it's lack. And from lack, you have a lackful reality. I'm not living in lack. I'm not living in a lackful reality anymore. I've worked to get out of that. And even if I have moments of lack, and I have moments where I'm expressing it, like everyone, because we are a work in progress, and we are not able to stay in a stable vibration. So we have those moments. those vibrations that are there, that are part of it. And we experience them still, even if we have done a work that we know exactly, well, we can still express lack, right? But nevertheless, that is not my state anymore. So I recognize it, I see it, and if I express lack in a moment, the next moment I'm not staying in that lack. So I'm not creating a reality full of lack anymore. There's some lack, yes, that I have to work on and discover and change and all of that. But then that creating lack to stay in lack and have a reality of lack, that's not anymore something that I want to and that I aspire to, because it's not my choice. It's not what I prefer for myself. So I choose something different, because there's no wrongdoing in lack. There's a whole reality out there based on lack, full of people expressing lack. Lack is full of that. And as I said, it's a lot of effort to sustain a lack, because it's just lack. It's just the non-recognition of the self, of the internal, of the self, of the abundance that is there. And when I have a friend that is complaining about everything, that prices and all of that, and hardship, and it's not here, it's not there, blah 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 blah, and then I just look into what is there, what my interpretation, yeah, but I still what I perceive there, and I see abundance, and I see that they have wealth and they have everything, and they still come to me and express that, oh, I'm so and so and so, and yeah, see, that is out there. There are people that, and there are many that are not seeing their abundance, that are not accepting the abundance that they have, because they are looking to the hardship. They're seeing, they're taking all of these things, like energy, the cost of living, and we don't have enough of the, there's not enough of that. All right, but I don't buy it, and I do not play into that, because I'm not blind. And you know, I've experienced the other day when someone said, talk about the absence of goods and resources, that, oh, we are lacking everything and it's limited and we don't have enough. And I said, really? And I just asked, where does the oil come from? There was no oil in the 70s. Now there is oil everywhere, and gas and all of that. So where does it come from? There was none. Gone. Nada. Finished. And now we are full of that. They can't answer. It's not possible to answer, because it's out of the reach of many to have that observation. Yet, for now, it's coming. It's not that it's reserved for some people, it's for everyone, and everyone will see things, but it's stuff that it's there, and it's, you can see that, but not everyone yet is seeing, because the complaining and the lack and all of that is giving them what? Personality. reason for complaining to, and they feed in that. And that is the thing that we have now to understand about the lack, is that is feeding them. The lack is giving them that need. They need that thing of complaining of being in that, and so it's feeding that that personality, those personalities, those lackful, those complaining, that victimization. So there you have it. There you have it. And the truth is that all of that, all of that complaining, all of that stuff, all the lack is not in the now. No one that complains about what is not there or what they think is not there, right? None of them are seeing the moment. None of them have consciousness of the moment, of what is right here, right now. Abundance. They all have abundance. We all have that. If we allow the self to see that, it's there. We have it. But instead of that, living outside of the moment is that, oh, in 9 months, in 8 months, in 6 months, we may have shortage of electricity. Oh, really? Good. How do you know? It's not now. How do you know that there is shortage of electricity in 6 months? It's not now. It's not happening right now, except that when you present, you get that, you express that, you are creating it. But you are creating it now. Not in 6 months, you are creating it now. It's a reality. Now, those people are creating for themselves. So, they're already experiencing it. So that my question is then, are they going to experience it in 6 months? Not in the way they are already expressing. Not saying there will not be shortage of electricity or anything, but I'm saying it's not going to happen the way they expect it. That's for sure. Because when they played the game they're playing right now, with this kind of fears and all of that, it never comes the way they are telling it, because they are already experiencing it. So reality is not going to repeat itself. It's already done. It's already done. They got it now, in the moment they are expressing the lack. So that is living in the memory too. It doesn't matter whether it's now, in the past, whether it's in the future, it's still living in the memory. And whether it's the past, whether it's the future, they change constantly. So that then, right? Good. It's anyway, being in the moment, right? Accepting and experiencing the moment, internalizing reality. It works. Changes completely the relationship with the self, with the reality, and with what is happening. And so it may make your world smaller, right? Because then you do relate to what is in the moment, what is there. and you do not try to go everywhere else, whether it's in the past, in the future, or whether it's in another place, right? We try to move in time, we try to move in space, except being there where we are, and the refusal of just experiencing the moment. But I have to say that since I've started doing this work, this introspection, this ascension, this transformation of myself, and so I've transformed my reality. I had experiences that could be qualified as amazing, extraordinary, because in their banality, they are extraordinary because those that are living in a externalized world are still unable to access them. So there is right, when you approach people and do not compromise yourself and keep your light the way it is, and you keep your vibration the way it is, then they are unable to really match you, so that there is some friction because they are holding something different, something that is discordant with you, so that when then you present things the way you experience them and the way you can express them, because obviously I'm not going to talk to father, right, to match into things, and I don't need to, but it has to be relevant to the moment. But even with that I can express in the moment where I'm not engaging, I notice when you do not engage in a conversation and that you only share what is pertinent, but what is coherent, what is the truth of you, when you are true to yourself in the moment and you express that in a conversation where you just say nothing else but just that everyone is listening, whether they agree or not, they listen. If you talk for talking, and with all the banalities and all the bullshit that people may say in a conversation where they think that they are saying so great things, but they are just doing some blah blah and dwelling in their lack. They listen. They may not agree, but they listen. And I realize, you see, that's interesting, because there is no opposition, because there cannot be opposition in that moment, right? There cannot be anyone that say, whatever. They listen. Then, as I said, they can disagree. Who cares, though? It's not important that they disagree. They listened, right? And the thing is that a message has been delivered, and they have listened. Their ego opposes it, but they listened. And that's all. And that is part of the share your light, and do not be attached to the outcome of the sharing. You do not control your light. You are just sharing it, right? And then those that want to interact with it, they will interact with your light. but you cannot control it. And these are things that are so difficult for us, for human beings, because to accept that you do not control your sharing of light. And what is sharing your light? Sharing your light is, well, the act of, right, you can meditate and allow, right, your expansion, your being with your space. That's one way, but there are ways like, having a YouTube channel, posting on social media, or just being in a room with other people and you share. There are so many ways of sharing your light, but that is the easy part, is to irradiate, to share your light. The difficult part is to simply do that. Because then we want to engage further. We want to make sure, we want to control, we want to interact, to interject, we want to. Sharing your light is sharing your light, and that's all. And basically, it's simply us being us. It's the presence of us. If it's the existence of us, that is the sharing. So you see, the you are enough. That is what you are enough is that your existence is all that is needed. You are valuable, you are worth simply for the fact that you exist. That is that you do not need to control, you do not need to force anything. You are enough. So that is what sharing your light is in the being, is in the existence, is not in the forced action, it's not in the outcome, it's not in the will of the human, in willing ourselves, so that we have so much already there. Oh, we have everything actually. And now it's the discovery. We have so much to discover about ourselves, because we have hidden it inside of us to ourselves, obviously, because that's what we decided to do and what we thought was necessary to do. And now we come to something else. We realize different stuff, and we got to work on ourselves and discover our light, because we irradiate light. Obviously, we are energy, so there you go. But the first thing that we do with that is that we are sharing it with the self, with ourselves. And that's so beautiful, because the first thing that we have to heal is our disgust of the self, our opposition to the self, our hatred of the self. That's what we do. Because, well, we when you witness so much, right, in the experience, in the interactions with what is, let's say, the external, the mirror, you meet people, you interact with people, and a constant expression is the expression of the hatred of the self. And that is the main thing that I'm witnessing in the end. And because it's so easy, it's so present, it's so there. It's like something that it's like something that it's part of our expression of the self at some moment, to be so hating ourselves. And then, right, if you go into the memory, you can find reasons, trauma, and many things to justify that. And then those reasons change because, well, memory change, and we may find other reasons to in the memory for exactly the same, right? Good, we can do that, and or we can just accept that we have that, and then work on that, change that relationship with the self, and start loving ourselves. And it's something that we have to learn, to teach. And I was talking with my client today, and I said, well, look how it will be easier for all of us when we choose to work on ourselves, if our school system taught those things that we really need. And it's not that I'm expecting from a school system that we have right now that is very full of lack, that they teach about ascension and about right, the creator and all of that. Right, let's be. But if there were in our education a way to convey the unknown, the unseen, to convey that, right, that part that is not seeable, or that of the perception that goes beyond, to validate what we perceive in ourselves, right? Validate the insight, this kind of things. If we had that door already presented through our education, when you work on yourself, then it will become, let's say, easier to accept the work, to accept what happens, to accept the part that we cannot see, only perceive, and mostly just slightly, just one mini second, that beings that are there, that you see passing, that you just have a vision, that you feel, right? Then we will be able to validate it without having the doubt. Of course they're there, right? Of course there's that, but it's not known because it's not present in our education, because there is a rejection of that. I've been listening to the Sumerian. So am I saying that correctly? So the mythology of Tolkien, right, around what is the Lord of the Ring, right? It's the end of the story, but there is all the history of that world, and I've realized that that's a religion. I think I was saying this in our last podcast. It's a religion, and there is a version of reality where that is the religion or one of the religions. And Tolkien has expressed that in our reality as a fantasy book, and it's fun, and it makes me laugh. And I know, but it makes me laugh when fans, when people that love Tolkien talk about, oh, it's fantasy, it's not real. Yeah, right. And when you explore, because when you read Tolkien, you have, right, you read the Lord of the Ring, 3 books, and the story in there. It's very interesting, but you have only part of it, because there is all that precede that, where you understand what the Lord of the Ring is. You have another understanding of the Lord of the Ring, of that story, and it's much richer than just the 3 books. But when you enter in, when you use this kind of book, of story, of work, of art, right, of creation, and that you use that to explore and, let's say, discover yourself and part of yourself, and those kind of things, then you go farther in the work, in the discovery. And for me, that it's really interesting, because I was listening to all of this, because, right, in Lord of the Ring, there are the elf, there are the human, there are the dwarves, and then there are the Valors, and there is the god, Louis Vuitton, the only god that creates the world. And this god creates first the Valor, so that are is first creation, and they receive from Louis Vuitton the task of taking charge of his creation, and to through there is the creation is through the song. There are 3 iterations of the song, and in every iteration of the song there is something that is added, and in the 3rd song there is earth and the first and second born. So the elves are the firstborn, and human beings, well, men, remember, but human beings are the secondborn. At that time, man was used for human being. Nowadays, I will just not say man. I think it's human being. It's the best way of saying that. But anyway, and then the dwarves are created by one of the Valar, and accepted by Louis Vuitton, and allowed to exist. But the thing is that, right, in going through all of this story, relating to all of that, then I was asking, well, all right, the interaction between the elf and the human beings, it's very interesting, but these elves have a feeling so close to human being, in their existence, the way they express themselves, right, in many things. And the only main difference between the elf and the humans in this work is that the elf do not die, and well, they can lose their bodies, but if they die, all that happens is that they leave their body and they go in a room, let's say, and after some time they will be re-embodied and stay in the undying land, right? So it's not dying or being slayed or whatever. It's not the end of them. It's simply a um, evolution, right? It's simply, oh, the body is not usable anymore, so well, I'll go and stay there for some time, and then I'll have a new body. Whereas Louis Vuitton gives the gift of death to the human beings as the second born. So I was watching that and I was wondering, yeah, but how can I relate to those that I call the elf as elves? And then, right, because perception, it's to understand these things, then the answer, yeah, but this is a human work, a human book written by a human. So it's a human perspective. And then there is your perspective as the one reading the book, which is yours. So you're creating it. So this whole thing is human perspective. So you have to see that those elves are described through the human. So are they really elves? Yes. Are their behavior human? No. But it is described as human because it's through human that it is seen. Because the perspective of the book is a perspective that the writer has, and through the writer, the reader has. And the reader is going to interpret it through human eyes. So that if I really want to connect with those elves, I cannot do it through that vision, which is the human perspective. So I have to go behind that and connect directly with the elves if I want to have any understanding, even though my understanding will always be what? The human perspective. I cannot leave the human perspective. It will always be my human perspective. So that then through this work, now I'm just accepting that, right? I've just understood. Oh, right. My perspective. It's the way that this is presented. Now, then when it comes to understand this work, the undying land. What are the undying land? What is? Oh, human elves can be with the gods in the same level of existence? Well, no, obviously not. The Valors are beings that are not superior, but necessarily vibrating at a different rate than elves or humans or dwarves when they are in Middle Earth. When they go in the Undying Land, well, then they have to change their vibration, and therefore the the trip, the journey, going from Middle Earth to the Undying Land is a trip of vibration. Because the Undying Land, if in the beginning they were existing in the same level of existence, right? It was a flat Earth with and there was just one continent and all of that. Nevertheless, it changed, and when the elf were born and then invited to join the Valor and live in the Undying Land, that was one thing. But then at the end of the first let me see, Badak, Melkor, and then there's that, and then the destruction of that comes at the end of the Second Age with the full of Numenor. But basically, at some point, the Valar move the Undying Land from the physical to the non-physical, and it's presented in a different way in Tolkien in this work, because it's not said that it moves in the non-physical, because they're right. Tolkien is channeling this work and with what he is expressing, right? He's translating it in human, and the idea of the non-physical dimensions, no, that was not present for Tolkien. So he's expressing it in a certain way. So he's keeping it as if it were all physical. But for me, they cannot be in the same vibration level of existence as humans and elves, especially when they are on Middle Earth. When they move there, then after they move the Undying Land in the non-physical, then there is a necessary change of vibration that is required from the elves, and the only one that are invited to go to the Undying Land and expected to are the elves. And at the end of the Lord of the Ring, that's what is in the what it's called, the after the story, you have the addition, right, the information that are given, and there it is said that the elves all move back to the Undying Land at the invitation, right? That they are given that need of going there because they have to leave, and the ring bearer, so Frodo the Hobbit and Bilbo the Hobbit, and they all go. And I hear people, right, the fans, the expert and all of that saying, well, yeah, they go there, but they will die there because they are not they are not elves, so they must go there to die, which I completely disagree with, because it is correct to say the Undying Land, it's not a land that is not dying, is that the people living there cannot die, which is, well, okay. But the thing is that that place is in a different vibrational state. So these hobbits that are going there at the invitation, right, they are invited, accepted there, they are going to have to change their vibration as everyone else. So in sort of, they're going to die in the sense that they cannot exist in the physical. They are leaving the physical in order to go into the undying land. You see, so it's a different journey than what is perceived by many, because it's not going into another physical place. It's not physical anymore. It's going to the creator, and the story of this story, it's really interesting also because, right, Louis Vuitton is the creator. Clearly it's the creator, and creates all the many versions of itself, the father, and then creates the elves, and then creates humans and the dwarf. Even if the dwarves are initiated by someone else, they still are part of the Tower, because it's in the music. There is the discordance of what Melkor, even if it's not called Melkor straight away, but anyway, yeah, it's Melkor. Well, it doesn't matter. He creates discordance in the music. But what Louis Vuitton says is that what Melkor will learn is that even is in his discordance, he's doing my will. And it's obvious, right? You can oppose the creator as a ego. You can oppose and I mean, it's human beings are so full of opposition to the creator. But in the end, even that opposition to the creator is part of the human experience. So you are still doing the bidding of the creator. You cannot not do the bidding of the creator. You only do that, right? Even that opposition to the creator is part of the experience that we are here to have. And we're having a lot of that, but it's part of the will of the creator. So Louis Vuitton says that, and so you see that there are so many things if you read with the understanding, or let's say the perspective of the creator. You can see in Tolkien's work that the creator is present in many ways, and that creation is present in many ways in what he's expressing, in the way he's interpreting it. Even though as a Christian and as a human being, he's interpreting it through those lenses. So a lot of that work comes through that. And it's present too. So you can have all of those perspectives. But in the way that is presented, it's absolutely fantastic, because you can see that. And so that's also why I'm saying it's a religion, because when you listen to the words to the Silmarillion. Well, when you listen to that, you can really feel for me, the vibration is the vibration of really religion, right? The way the creation of art, the creation of the races, and right, the human race and all of that. And then there are other aspects, right? The fact that the elf leave Middle Earth. Oh, well, the elf have left us, right? They leave Middle Earth and leave behind the man, as the first age is the age of human beings. Well, that happens in our reality too, in a different way. But the elves have left because there was opposition. There were the human beings were so not welcoming and in fear and killing them and doing horrible things as often with what they don't understand. And so the elf have left. The fae have left, right? The fairies have left. So we experience that. It's not something that we don't know. And so it resembles somehow. That's why I'm saying going from Middle Earth to the Undying Land is a vibrational journey. It's because that is what it is. It's vibrational because then those that stay in Middle Earth are not existing on the same vibrational level, so they cannot have interaction. They cannot have physical interaction with those that are in the Undying Land because it's not physical, so it's not anymore present on Earth. And then another thing that you have is Numenor and the destruction of Numenor, which is mirroring Atlantis, and that was in the will of Tolkien. He wanted, right, in his work, he wanted to have that as the lost of Atlantis, but thinking of a mythological place, but it's not a myth, it's a reality, it's real. And so we can, I think that even Numenor at some point in Middle Earth becomes a myth, a very old, distant myth, the lost of Numenor. This place that was so great, so advanced, and with people that were 8 feet tall. 8 feet, I think it must be 8 feet, 2.5 meters. 2 centimeter. No, what I'm doing there. Let me see. So in to feet, meters to feet. So 1 meter is 3 and 28. So 1.7, 557. All right. So 2.5. Yeah, it's 8 feet 2. So the Numenorian were 8 feet. 2. Yeah, 8 feet. So yeah, around 2.5 meters. So way and strong and all of that. So it was clearly different, a different age, a different era for the humans. With the idea then that in Middle Earth they diminished, and they were the Numenorian were living 500 years at the beginning, and then they diminished, and that's how the idea of living, of our lifespan is introduced, right? Coming, we have lost the ability to live 500 years. And that's that's actually correct, right? Because we know that in the Middle Age they were living, the lifespan was maybe 40-30 years. For many people it was 20-25. So, and now we are at 80-90. So we can see that the lifespan changes clearly, right? So, and also in the Middle Age, people were around 5 feet, a little bit more than 5 feet, 4 maybe, and now people are getting to 5'9", 6 feet, right? So and we have many people that are even 6'2", right? Yeah, so we know that changes, and so the way we are changes completely. So when I say that a matriarchal society have women being stronger and higher than men, I'm correct. It's correct. You have to, right, change the ways of power, then you have to change the physicality of power too. And then, right, another thing that it's interesting, right, is that where you can see the interpretation is that Louis Vuitton creates the values as the most powerful beings beside obviously Louis Vuitton. But then these beings, they take female or male form. And I was asking, but how these beings that are not related to human beings or elves, why would they take a female or male form? At that level of existence, there is no need of male or female. There is even no. There isn't. It's only human beings that have this aspect of male female, and then as humans think that the whole universe has to be at the image of human beings, they put male female and human body and physicality everywhere, where we're the only one existing in this way. But then again, it's remember the perspective. It's written from the perspective of a human being. And a human being, as I just said, is putting male and female and physicality everywhere because it's all we know. Then it becomes clear. Obviously, yes, the Valar have to have a gender where there is need for genders. Why will they have gender? They don't. The gender is used for the humans, for the human experience. But then we put that everywhere. Anyway, right. Oh, that's great. I love this. So I've lost. Where am I? Oh, there I am. There am I. All right. So I just wanted to go through that and these things, and I've gone long enough, I think, right? Let me see. Yeah. So thank you for joining in and watching, and I will be seeing you soon again. So next thing I have this Thursday, the sound bath for patrons. And that's the next thing I'm going to do, sound bath. So we'll be seeing you very soon, and so thank you, and I love you, and I will be seeing you soon.